gentlemen, please join your hands together for Dr. Karan Singh entering the hall. Evening to all gathered here today. I welcome you to this very special occasion organized by Chandigarh Literary Society. I'm Aprajita and I have the pleasure to be your host for the evening. For the past 13 years, Chandigarh Literary Society, a dynamic not-for-profit organization, has served as an essential hub for writers, publishers, intellectuals, scholars, fostering a rich environment for artistic collaboration. The Society has been instrumental in holding annual poetry and short story events at local, national, and international level. और CLS द्वारा आयोजित इस खूबसूरत संध्या भी कुछ खास है क्योंकि हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं एक अहम शख्सियत और उनकी खिदमत में पेश हैं चंद पंक्तियाँ। हर गली अच्छी लगी, हर एक घर अच्छा लगा। हर एक गली अच्छी लगी, हर एक घर अच्छा लगा। वो जो आए शहर में तो शहर भर अच्छा लगा। Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Karan Singh, former Sadar-e-Riyasat of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, with a loud round of applause. Along with him, there are present members of the Karan Singh Foundation, an organization which is dedicated to the visionary ideals of its namesake, with Dr. Jyotsna Singh leading it as the chairperson. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin the event with the auspicious ceremony of lighting the lamp. I humbly invite our esteemed dignitaries, Dr. Sumita Mishra, Jyotsna ma'am, Mr. Ravi Singh, publisher of The Speaking Tree, Harbhat Singh, the author, Madhav Kaushik ji, the chairman of the Sahitya Academy, to please come forward, and Dr. Karan Singh to please come forward and grace the occasion by lighting of the lamp. It is a tradition that symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and the ushering of knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. For this spirit, it is now my privilege to invite Dr. Sumita Mishra, the founder chairperson of the Chandigarh Literary Society and an accomplished officer of the Indian Administrative Service, to deliver the inaugural address. Ma'am, please.
Jyotsna ji, Madhav Kaushik ji, Chandratrikha ji, मनमोहन सिंह जी, रवि सिंह जी, यहाँ पे मौजूद जो हमारी बहुत ही डिस्टिंग्विश्ड एंड एस्टीम्ड ऑडियंस है, a very warm welcome to all of you. In fact, it's my privilege as chairperson of CLS to welcome all of you to this very special evening. And I can say without a doubt, without any hesitation, that all of us who are here today are truly privileged. Because we are going to hear from and about someone who is, I think, truly a living legend in independent India. truly a national treasure, if I can say that. Kashmir, or Kashyap Mir, the sacred land of the ancient Rishi Kashyap, made up of valleys of incomparable beauty and spiritual depth, surrounded by the towering Himalayas. And that's where our guest tonight belongs to and speaks of repeatedly. Many of us already know about his very illustrious life, but let me take the opportunity to share a little bit. And if I'm wrong anywhere, sir, please correct me later. Dr. Karan Singh was born on the 9th of March 1931 in Cannes, the Yuvraj to Maharaja Hari Singh and Maharani Tara Devi of the Royal House of Jammu Kashmir. He grew up in the disciplined solitude of royalty, educated at Doon School, immersed in books and ideas. And yet it was Kashmir, its temples and its shrines, that anchored his soul. Then, when he was 18, history intervened. His father, Maharaja Hari Singh, the last ruler of Jammu Kashmir, appointed him as the regent on the intervention of the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. And at 18, Dr. Karan Singh was the regent of Jammu Kashmir. A newly independent nation was watching. A valley trembled with the aftershocks of partition and accession. And a young man stepped forward with resolve and grace. And it is this steady grace that is the defining motive of Dr. Karan Singh's entire life. Over the next 18 years, Dr. Karan Singh ji presided over Jammu and Kashmir's difficult transition, first as regent, then as the elected Sadr Riyasat, and finally as governor. He thus became a unique figure in modern Indian history. One who was the last representative of the old order, and one who became, by the people's will, the first representative of the new one. I think that deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. In 1967, at 36, he joined Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's cabinet as the youngest union cabinet minister in India, serving with distinction 3 big departments: tourism and civil aviation, health and family planning, as it was then called, not family welfare, and education and culture. Through it all, and this is something I think is really interesting to share, through it all, he neither drew a government salary nor occupied government accommodation. And when his privy purse came to him after his father's death, he placed the entire sum in a charitable trust in his parents' names. These are not footnotes. These speak to us of the character of the man. But to understand Dr. Karan Singh ji fully, and I think we will hear it more from him, but I really cannot resist sharing what I have been reading, and I am so looking forward to going through the whole book. I'm yet to complete that. One must look beyond the offices he's held and attend to the inner journey that runs beneath. He joined the University of Delhi to do his doctorate, and his subject of the doctorate was equally telling. He chose the political thought of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo was not merely a freedom fighter, as we all know, but a seer who believed that India's independence was inseparable from the spiritual evolution of India and of humanity. Dr. Singh has written and spoken at length on the Upanishads, which he regards as the supreme inheritance of the Indian civilization. He quotes the Isha Upanishad not as a scholar quoting sources, but as a man quoting from his own conviction and his own lived experience. His devotion to Lord Shiv is equally deep and personal. He has visited and venerated the great Shaiv shrines of South India, with the same heart that he has brought to the Sufi dargahs and shrines of Kashmir. And in fact, he has said that in his childhood, going to a mosque or a gurdwara was no different than going to a temple, because all was sacred, all were home. This, I would argue, is his most enduring contribution. Not just the offices he has held, but a life demonstrating that civilizational depth and democratic commitment, spiritual seeking and public service, Hindu philosophy and pluralist vision are not contradictions. In fact, in the right hands, they are companions. Today, we have gathered here to discuss a statesman and a seeker, the extraordinary life and legacy of Dr. Karan Singh, a biography written by Shri Harbans Singh Ji. Shri Harbans Singh, who is himself a distinguished writer and journalist and who has a deep connection with Chandigarh, so a big round of applause for him, has given us a biography that is both intimate and rigorous, one that does justice to a journey spanning over 9 decades. From a palace in Cannes to the floor of Parliament, from the Dal Lake to the corridors of the UN and the UNESCO. And through its pages, we meet not only a statesman, but a poet, a philosopher, a scholar, a philanthropist, and a profound humanist. Books like this, Harbansji, this is especially for you, books like this do not merely record history. They restore it to us. They make it personal and vivid, so that we might learn from lives which have been lived with both courage and conscience. At 95, Dr. Karan Singh is not only a national treasure, but he's a living bridge. He's a living bridge between India's civilizational past and its democratic present. And he is, as the biography says, perhaps the best president India never had. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome for what promises to be a unique and special evening. I give to you Dr. Karan Singh Ji. Thank you, sir.
For providing a glimpse into the magnanimous life of Dr. Karan Singh. We now take a moment to express our deep respect as we felicitate our esteemed guest, Dr. Karan Singh. So your journey marked by excellence, commitment, continues to inspire us all. Dr. Sumita Mishra, felicitating Dr. Karan Singh on behalf of Chandigarh and Chandigarh Literary Society. Jyotsna ma'am presenting a token of gratitude to the Chandigarh Literary Society. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. We now move on to our next session. It is in the quiet labor of research that ideas gather, and in a book that they finally speak. In many ways, this resonates deeply with the biography, A Statesman and a Seeker, where Harbans Singh, the author, brings together decades of public life, spiritual inquiry, and a rich legacy within the folds of a book. Harbans Singh, hailing from the Jammu region, began his career as a college professor before moving on to the journalism. He has worked for numerous newspapers and authored many books, including the monumental 3-volume A Modern History of Jammu and Kashmir. He is one of the authoritative voices on contemporary studies on the region. So I welcome you to share your journey of writing this book.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The first word that comes to my mind is destiny. It was destiny that brought about this book. Just over 25 months back, Dr. Jyotsna Singh, who holds the annual Tavi festival in Jammu, she had organized a talk with Dr. Karan Singh. The person who was to engage him, Ravi Singh, the publisher of this book, because of family emergency, he couldn't come. And I was the second best person for the job. Therefore, I was asked to come down to Jammu. There, I think apparently I did an adequate job, for later Dr. Jyotsna Singh asked me to join with Dr. Karan Singh over a dinner in the evening. But before the dinner, we had a quiet talk together where she said that they were planning, the foundation was planning a biography of Dr. Karan Singh, and could I suggest somebody's name who could write this? Now, this was something came as a shock to me, because who else but me could have written that book? But I was at peace, happy, because the next moment she said that, would you be interested in it? So wouldn't I be? Of course. That's what I call destiny. I was at a place where I was not supposed to be, and I did a job which I was not supposed to do. Writing about the book, the actual process, after signing the contract, I developed cold feet. Then I realized the magnitude of the job, magnitude of the responsibility that I had taken upon myself. It was not just the story of Dr. Karan Singh, his simple life. It was the story of modern India. The way the world was moving away from the colonial, feudal, and the monarchical mindset towards democracy, development, and the new world. He represents that. He has seen everything. And interestingly, the year of his birth coincides with the year when the Kashmiris rose against the Dogra regime in Jammu and Kashmir. And from then on, his life and that of Sheikh Abdullah, who was the leader who was born after 1931 agitation, their lives have been intertwined. So that's one major aspect which I had to uncover and understand what is it all about and how it happens, and how often they have come together to face similar problems or in confrontation with each other. That has happened all along the journey. So that was, political aspect was one. Then there was personal dilemma. His father, who had been asked to leave the state, and a living father, he was replaced by a young son. It was difficult to accept that. And then there was the call of the new India, Jawaharlal Nehru's call of being part of the great adventure of building new India. He chose the latter call. He obviously was not fit for the race courses and the cruises the world over, so he chose to stay here, to be part of how the new world of India would emerge. And here we see that he has traveled a long way, almost a century now, and he has seen everything that was there to be seen by it. Major challenge for me was understanding political aspects. They can be understood. They are in the public domain. You have to see them, you have to analyze them, and you can conclude whatever you want to do. That's the easy part. The difficult part is of understanding the journey of a person, individual journey, which can be said the pilgrim's soul. Born in a feudal background, a feudal right to the core, And yet, he decided to be part of the new world. Doon School gave him a beginning. We believe that Doon is a very privileged school, but for him it was a boon because he found refuge in the library of Doon School, where he discovered the world of Maupassant, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and the rest. And from then on, there was no turning back. At a very young age, he had also started studying the philosophy, trying to understand, though one should say that he was introduced to philosophy not via the Indian philosophy, but by the Western philosophy from Aristotle to Plato, and the journey continued. Simultaneously, he improved his educational qualifications, which ultimately, as Dr. Sumita Mishra has said, led to his doing a doctorate in the political thought of Aurobindo. But during this period, he also met two very remarkable persons. One was Pandit Paramanand, who introduced him to the Shakti cult of Hinduism, and the others were the Vaishnavas, Swami Prem Krishan Prem and Ashish Da, both Englishmen, both who renounced the world and became Swamis, sadhus in the hills of Almora, and that association with them remained lifelong for Dr. Karan Singh and had deep influence upon him. He also studied other philosophies and how he became a devoted Shiv Bhakt. For that, you have to read the book. I'm not going to speak about that because that is an experience that has to be read and understood, that how he realized that this is Shiva and he is the creator. That cannot be described in 2 or 3 sentences. One has to go through with the whole experience that he went through before realizing that he is the ultimate God, he is the beginning, he is the end. But that did not mean that he rejected any of the religious thoughts, any of the spiritual thoughts. He journeyed from one stop to another, but he found a way of juxtaposing them and finding a common ground between all philosophies and all thoughts, which has led him to become the global citizen, which is a rare thing not everybody can claim to be. I can go on telling you about the whole process and what I discovered. But if I do that, Radhika will be fretting and fuming. Therefore, I leave the stage for Radhika. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
For so generously sharing your journey with such depth and inspiration. It has been truly enriching to witness. अब हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. एक आईना रूबरू है अभी, उसकी खुशबू से गुफ्तगू है अभी. We are now moving to the much awaited session on the book discussion. I have the honor to introduce the one who needs no introduction, Dr. Karan Singh, a venerable statesman and former Sadar-e-Riyasat of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, appointed as regent by Maharaja Mahari Singh in 1949, and in conversation with him would be Radhika Sharma, who is a writer and a storyteller herself. Over to you, ma'am.
Of course I've read the book. I have absolutely read the book. In fact, Harbans Singh ji was a little, he asked me a week ago कि तुमने कितनी पढ़ी किताब. मैंने कहा 100 पेज. कहते तुम्हारे लिए मुझे बहुत डर लग रहा है. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. And I am very proud to introduce, or I'm very proud to be in conversation today with a man who, let me say this, the mother, Mir Alfasa of Pondicherry, said that the future belongs to them who have the soul of a hero. And here we have Dr. Karan Singh, who doesn't only have the soul of a hero, but he was also one of mother's favorite children. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to sit back and enjoy this journey. It's a very short time that we have, but a very long way to traverse. So, sir, I'm jumping right into it. So, starting with the biography, sir. So, your biography was shaped through a close collaboration with your biographer, Harbans Singh Ji, and later Ravi Singh, your editor, involving trust and personal reflection. So, how did you decide what parts of your life should remain private and what should enter the public record? And how did it feel to see your own journey interpreted through somebody else's lens?
Dr. Sumita Mishra, Chairman of the Chandigarh Literary Society, and members, the author, Harbans Singh Ji, who has just spoken, my editor, Ravi Singh, who's very, what should I say, difficult to find, but he's somewhere here in the audience, the chairman of the Karan Singh Foundation, my daughter, Jyotsna Singh, and Radhika Sharma. Thank you. Yeah. I asked her whether she'd read the book. She has. I said, I haven't. I don't intend to read the book also in the near future. Well, let me say what a pleasure it is to be here in Chandigarh. Let me first say that. Because this is, I remember Corbusier meeting him when he was building the city at Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's house. I remember Corbusier, I remember when the Bhakra Dam was opened, Jawaharlal Ji was there, Corbusier was also there. And so I've seen this whole city coming up. For me, it's not something that descended from the top. It emerged after the disasters of partition. It emerged as a beautiful, the first planned city, a properly planned city. Mind you, Jaipur is also very well planned. Many of our ancient cities, Madurai is very well planned. But in modern times, this is the first planned city in India. And therefore, it has led the way for architecture. Some people may or may not approve of the architecture. That's a different matter. Yeah. I know many people feel the architecture should have been more Indian, whatever that means. But that is a feeling. You know, that is very, very Western, it's very French. I haven't even been born in France, so I have nothing against France. But Chandigarh is a great city. And I used to come here regularly. I'll tell you why. Two of my children were in Sanaur, Jyotsna and Ajat Shatru. She was there for 6 years, he was there for 4 years. So for 10 years, as disciplined parents, my wife and I used to come regularly to attend their annual function, twice a year. Once the annual function and once their house function. So we had to pass via Chandigarh. Then later when I became health minister, I was ex officio chairman of PGI. When Dr. Chotani was here, you may remember him, some of you, the great Chotani. And I used to have to come every year to preside over that meeting. So I used to visit Chandigarh fairly frequently, long time ago this is. After that also I've come from time to time. But today is very special because this book is being released. Now, you've asked me, Radhika, what I have not put into the book. That I'm not going to tell you.
I asked.
Had I told you, I would have told Harbans that. So, whatever you don't see is something that I have not put into the book. But I have tried genuinely to put into the book as much as I can. And Harbans was a very hard taskmaster. He not only talked to me, he talked to, my wife had passed away by then, I think. But he talked to all 3 of my children. He talked to all 6 of my grandchildren, asked them difficult questions about me, and talked to all the friends and all. So he's worked hard.
Yeah.
He's not only talked with me, he's spoken with a lot of people. He has this historical background about the Dogras.
Yeah.
He's written on Dogra history, as you know.
Yes, yes.
And so he was really the correct person to write. So he has now written the book, and I don't want to say anything more about it except that whatever is in the book is honest. There's no prevarication, there's no chalaki, there's no evasion. So whatever I have put in is absolutely honest.
That is true. It's a very, very honest book, and it's actually a. I have to say that this book, because I've read the book. You asked me, I've read the book. So, so when you read the book, you know, even if you're not reading it from the perspective of reading history or the life of Dr. Karan Singh, it is actually like a potboiler, sir. Matlab, it's, you know, you really want to. It's a page turner. So for anybody who is grabbing this book and, you know, thinking, acha, ye probably belongs to a point of history, don't, because it's a great book to read. It's fabulously written. So great job. So, sir, moving on. So you were born into the world of inherited titles and expectations. Early childhood से आपको युवराज और heir apparent वगैरह हैं जी. So later you became the only former ruler to voluntarily surrender your privy purse, placing yourself symbolically between the old order and the new. What inner reflections or convictions led you to take that decision, and how did that moment redefine your relationship with power, privilege, and responsibility?
Well, let me tell you, Pandit Jawaharlal ji was my mentor. I grew up in Doon School reading his books, particularly The Discovery of India and his autobiography. And both of those books impressed me tremendously. So I grew up admiring him. And then when it so happened that I was in touch with him physically, personally, from 1949 to 64, for 15 years, he mentored me. He guided me. I remember having breakfast with him and Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi. So I was sitting there with 3 prime ministers. It was at breakfast, and we talked about everything under the sun. And he taught me, he told me Tiger. By the way, Tiger is my pet name. I also started Project Tiger, but that's a different story which I've related. But he said, Tiger, whenever you look at a problem, look at it in the historical perspective. Don't only think that this is the problem. Try and understand what's behind. Now, this is something that very few people do. They tend to look at each incident as if it was self-contained, without understanding the background of it. So that was one of the many things I learned from him. And I grew up wanting to be part of what he called the exciting adventure of building a new India. Those are his words. I wanted to be part of that. And I knew I wouldn't be part of that if I just sat in the palace in J&K or just became a feudal. So therefore, I was determined to get into building, nation building. Now, my father was a very distinguished Maharaja. As you know, this was the biggest state in India at one stage. Ab to kat ke, ab to wo Himachal Pradesh se bhi niche aa gayi, ab to it's not even a full-fledged state. But that's a different matter. But at that time, it was the biggest Indian state area-wise. Gilgit-Baltistan, Ladakh was there, Kashmir from Verinag all the way to Muzaffarabad, and Jammu from Lakhanpur all the way to Mirpur. So that was the state. Now, Bapuji, of course, was the ruler of that state. And the way things developed that you mentioned, it was Sheikh Abdullah who, in a way, forced him to leave the state. You know, in those days, there was something called a plebiscite. Many of you may remember, ek zaman mein plebiscite ka zikr hua karta tha. And that plebiscite was very real. The plebiscite administrator had been appointed. Admiral Chester Nimitz of the US Navy had actually been appointed. So, who was going to win the plebiscite for us? Sheikh Abdullah, who was the leader of the biggest political party. Therefore, he had the whip hand. He said very unfairly to Jawaharlal ji that, look, I cannot win the plebiscite as long as Maharaja Hari Singh is here in the state. Not only him, but he said Maharani Tara Devi is more dangerous because the Maharaja just sits in his court surrounded by his courtiers. The Maharani goes from refugee camp to refugee camp because my mother was not a princess. She was from a small village in Himachal Pradesh. Small, छोटा जा ग्राम है बैजनाथ, लम्मा ग्राम जयसिंहपुर बैजनाथ, overlooking the Ravi. उत्थे थे माँ जी दे घर. She was a village girl, so she knew कि गरीबी क्या होती है, तकलीफ क्या होती है. So she would go from refugee camp to refugee camp. कोई कपड़े ले आइए, कोई अचार ले आइए, कोई और चीज़ें लेगी, बनती थी. He said she is more dangerous than him. She must also leave. So both my father and mother were obliged to leave J&K state. 20th, this whole thing happened in May 1949. And it was decided that I would become regent in his place. So, yes, that's what happened. I became regent. But the problem was not then, because regent to Bapuji ne banaya. The problem came soon after, when Sheikh Abdullah made a big song and dance. Humne Dogra ko hata diya. We won our battle against the Dogras. But he was viscerally anti-Dogra. He was a great leader, mind you. Sheikh Abdullah was a great Kashmiri leader, there's no doubt about it. Kashmiri kitni पीढ़ी चले आए उनका एहसान कभी पूरा नहीं कर सकते. He got the Kashmiris up from a despised race to where they are today. But he was viscerally anti-Dogra. So he made this big celebration, Chiraga hua, illuminations hui, Dogra rule khatam hua. After that, there was the Delhi Agreement between the Government of India and representatives of Sheikh Abdullah. And one of the agreements was that the head of state would be Sadr-e-Riyasat, who would be elected by the MLAs, not appointed by the president, elected by the MLAs, but recognized by the president. That was the arrangement. Now, he should have waited until the constitution was ready. I called the Constitutional Assembly, but no, he insisted. And he said, okay, Sadr-e-Riyasat, Maharaja Hari Singh must go. I was offered the Sadr-e-Riyasatship. It was very awkward. The person who had sent my father on into exile, the Dogras were furious. कि देखिए वो पिताजी को तो निकाल दिया और खुद जाके बैठ गए वहाँ. Not realizing that had I not accepted the Sadr-e-Riyasatship, तो डोगरों का नाम और निशान खत्म हो जाना था J&K में. Anyhow, at that stage, I remember it was very unpopular. I was torn between my father, who went to Bombay, and of course offered me to come to Bombay, stay with him. He was a racing expert, he was a great owner of racehorses and all. And Jawaharlal Nehru, who was my mentor. मैंने कहा जी मैं तो I'm sorry, but when the choice comes, I'm going to choose democracy. I paid the price for that. You always pay the price for everything. Remember one thing, बिना price, बिना कीमत के कोई चीज़ मिलती नहीं दुनिया में. I said, fair enough, I'm prepared. So that was when the real conflict started.
I was actually going to come to Sadr-e-Riyasat later, but since we are talking about it, I want to ask you a question. That office belonged fully to a particular moment, and then finally it faded away. So in your view, what endures even after such historically specific roles disappear?
After the Maharaja rule?
After the Sadr-e-Riyasat's role.
You see, Sadr-e-Riyasat was like governor. After that, it was converted into a governorship. And so there's no real difference. It was really a head of state, it was a formal post. The difference was that Sadr-e-Riyasat was elected by the MLAs, governor was appointed by the president. I was re-elected 3 times. 52 was the first election, then 57, then 62. Then in 65, under Sadiq Saab, the whole thing was changed, and the Sadr-e-Riyasat became governor, and the Prime Minister, as the Chief Minister was called Prime Minister at that time, became Chief Minister. That's how it carried on.
So I'm going to go back to your childhood, ठीक है जी. एक आपने ना, आपके author ने, he has written a very a very powerful childhood moment उन्होंने लिखा है. When at around 11 years old, your father asked Ghulam Ahmad to take you on a drive through parts of Srinagar that you had never before seen. And these were the areas that were marked with poverty and decay and human suffering, very unlike the palace life. ये एक्सपीरियंस मुझे थोड़ा सा सिद्धार्थ टाइप फीलिंग देता है. हाँ जी. सो डू यू सी दैट एक्सपीरियंस, एंड आई अगेन से रेमिनिसेंट ऑफ द वन सिद्धार्थ हैड, as an early moral or spiritual turning point, almost a loss of innocence that awakened your awareness of inequality and the feudal realities of the world that you were born into?
You see, Ahmad Saab, जो आप लोग जानते हैं कश्मीर के, was a very distinguished man. He had that Ahmad Son's shop opposite the Polo Ground, which is a beautiful curio shop. अब भी शायद है, बीच में जल गया था वो. So Bapuji told him, take Tiger and show him the city. तो मैं बैठा गाड़ी में. अब हम तो सारी उम्र पैलेस में ही रहे. अब बाहर जब गए, मैंने देखा जब चलते चलते तो हम ब्रिजेस के साथ साथ गए, तो हमने देखा वो तो बड़े पुराने घर हैं. कैसे मैंने कैसे घर ऐसे देखे ही नहीं थे कभी. तो मेरे लिए एक बड़ा अचंभा हुआ टू सी द रियलिटी ऑफ व्हाट श्रीनगर वाज. Not only the palace and all its beautifully manicured gardens and everything, but the city. So that was in a way, symbolically if you like, an introduction to the realities of life. And of course, Doon School, one is very much down in the field. We had to go to a village twice a month and do village work there, and वो mosquito छटकने वगैरह, तो उससे सब चीज़ें हमें सीखनी थी.
लड़कों के साथ रह के. जी. अच्छा, अब मैं वापस आ रही हूँ टू योर मदर. सो आपकी ज़िंदगी का काम रिफ्लेक्ट्स अ सस्टेन कंसर्न फॉर सोशल जस्टिस एंड ह्यूमन डिग्निटी. तो ये जो डीप एम्पैथी आप में है, ये कहाँ से आई, और आपकी माँ महारानी तारा देवी ने आपका इमोशनल और मॉरल एंगेजमेंट विद द वाइडर वर्ल्ड कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस किया?
माँ जी एक तो पहाड़ी गाने गाते थे. जब भी कोई उत्सव होता था, they used to sing those पहाड़ी डोगरी गीत, बड़े बड़े अच्छे गीत. I sing them all and I've converted them into proper songs. और रेडियो पर अब भी बजते हैं. पता नहीं चंडीगढ़ में बजते हैं कि नहीं, जम्मू में बजते हैं. तो उन्होंने वो एक तो वो सीखा उनसे. दूसरा, पूजा कमरा में ले जाते थे मुझे, जैसे माता करती हैं, चुनामत दिया, वो दिया, तुलसी दी, तो वो भी उनसे मैंने शुरू से सीखा. तीसरा, उन्होंने मुझे एक बात बताई कि बेटा कुछ करोगे दुनिया में तो गरीबों के लिए करो. अमीर तुम्हारा पैसा भी लेंगे और तुम्हारा विरोध भी करेंगे. और वही बात हुई, हूबहू वही बात हुई कि जो अमीर थे उन्होंने पैसा भी लिया और विरोध भी किया, और गरीबों ने हमेशा साथ दिया मेरा. 4 बार इलेक्शन जितवाई, ऐसे इलेक्शन जो कोई जीत ही नहीं सकता था हमारी पार्टी से. पोस्ट इमरजेंसी इलेक्शन, वो बाद में आऊँगा उस पर, फिर बताऊँगा उसके बारे में. लेकिन तो माँ जी से मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा. वो कहते जब कोई आए पूछ लो हाथ जोड़ के, आप कैसे हैं, आपका परिवार कैसा है. अगर कोई मिलने आए तो पूछो ड्राइवर को चाय मिली है कि नहीं मिली है. ये नहीं कि तुम चाय पीते रहो, वो बाहर खड़ा है. इससे सब कोई छोटी बातें हैं, लेकिन एक तरीके से देखा जाए बहुत बड़ी बातें. वो मैंने उनसे सीखी. पिताजी से भी बहुत कुछ सीखा, वो बाद में बताऊँगा.
तो ज्योत्सना कहती हैं, शी शेयर्स द एक्सपीरियंस एंड शी सेज शी ब्रॉट द विलेज इनटू द पैलेस. व्हाट डज दैट मीन?
वो मतलब ये उनकी जो नौकरानियाँ थी वो सब गांव की थी, और वो ढोलकी वगैरह बजाते थे. मामा जी थे, मामा नचिन चंद, उनकी फैमिली आती थी, उनकी माँ जी के भाई, तो वो लोग सब ढोलकी बजाते थे. वो दीपक लगा के जो परिक्रमा करते हैं लोहड़ी पे, वो सब. तो वो सारे जो ग्रामीण उत्सव थे वो अमर महल में लाते थे माँ जी, क्योंकि माँ जी रहते थे अमर महल में, जो अभी हमारा वो संग्रहालय है. तो इस दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड इन अ वे शी ब्रॉट द विलेज इनटू. पर खिलाड़ियाँ बनाते थे और खाना पकाते, तो वो सब बातें में ले आए थे वो.
दैट्स वेरी ब्यूटीफुल. सो अब मैं अब्दुल्ला के शेख अब्दुल्ला के पास वापस आ रही हूँ. सर, तो आपकी जो relationship with the family has evolved over 3 generations. पहले तो after the early conflict with Sheikh Abdullah himself, your own life and Sheikh Abdullah's life are closely linked. In fact, it just seems like Dr. Harbans Singh ji has said, it's like the destinies were inextricably linked. It's fascinating, actually. So I want you to speak a little more about that.
All right.
And one more thing. And your vision for Kashmir, both your visions were diametrically different. It's something like Athens and Sparta, maybe. not exactly, but just, तो वो उसके बारे में बताइए.
पहले तो परिवार के बारे में बताऊं. My wife, we married when I was 19 and my wife was 13. We broke the law. उन दिनों में वो कानून हमारे स्टेट पे नहीं होता था, हमारे अपने कानून थे. So she was a Nepalese princess, and she came. At that time, she knew no Hindi, she knew no English, but the way she developed and the way she grew with me, मैं इम्तिहान देता था, वो हिंदी की इम्तिहान देती थी. I hope that the book has brought out the tremendous role that she played in my life. Although she never pushed herself forward, but she was always there. एक बहुत बड़ा सहारा था. So that I'd like to particularly highlight that. Now with Sheikh Abdullah, obviously there was a difference. I've written, I think, in my autobiography, the difference between Sheikh Abdullah and me was Sheikh Saab looked upon himself as a Kashmiri who happened to be born in India. I looked upon myself as an Indian who happened to be from Kashmir.
Very nice.
That is one way of putting it. So it's not a question of what is better or what is worse. We must understand what his view was, what his vision was, and what mine was.
Yeah.
We were coming from two very different backgrounds.
And sir, now again coming back to the ladies, now that you have mentioned it, in दोनों ने, I mean, your Maharani Tara Devi, she, despite her traditional background, she became a fierce protector of thousands of refugees from Pakistan. And Ma'am Yasho Raj Lakshmi, Asha ji, who arrived in India as a teenager, unfamiliar with the language, but yet she became a multilingual champion for the differently abled. My question is that beyond, or perhaps despite their titles, what was the inner catalyst that enabled them to transcend such barriers? And what lesson, here's my question actually, what lesson does their journey hold for the empowerment of women today?
By my journey,
No, by their journey. How they transcended their, so let me again repeat the question. जो Maharani Tara Devi थी,
हाँ जी.
है ना? She came from a traditional background, but she became a fierce champion of or protector of thousands of women during partition. And जो ma'am थी, Asha ji, she arrived in India as a teenager and completely unfamiliar with the language, but she became a multilingual champion of the differently abled.
quite remarkable.
हाँ जी. So now I ask, beyond or perhaps despite their titles, what was the inner catalyst that enabled them to transcend such
You
barriers?
see, they were humanists.
Yeah.
They realized that people were suffering and wanted to help them. When we first started visiting Delhi, we were wondering what Asha would do here. There was a friend, I think Mrs. Roberts, if I remember correctly, who's had a mentally handicapped child, जो उनके साथ आता था. So she decided she would work in the field of mental retardation. And she set up an institute in Delhi, which has now grown into a huge institution, which my daughter-in-law now runs. And she was putting all her charity and all her energy into that, which again was a way of serving the people. So both were in their own ways impelled by service to the people.
Sir, इनकी journey से, what are the lessons for, what lessons that we can take away for women empowerment today, in today's, how do you think the situation of
Women
number
empowerment.
one, yes,
You're right, I mean, both these women, they were also very different. One was a village girl, one was a princess, and yet they were involved in alleviating human suffering. I think women empowerment really means empowering the weakest and the most vulnerable sections of society, which women represent. And women themselves have to play a major role in their own emancipation. I have no doubt of that.
Agreed. Would you like to say
I
something
share
more?
the disappointment that the bill was not passed. I'm not going into the politics of it, but the idea of reserving, I remember I was still in the cabinet way back in Indira Gandhi's time, जब पहले चर्चा हुई इसकी, तो वो चर्चा चल रही है अब तक, नहीं हुआ, हो जाएगा sooner or later, I hope.
Sir, अब हम I would like to come to Maharaja Hari Singh, your father. तो जब आप अपने पिताजी के बारे में लिखते हैं, तो one senses a complex blend of admiration, regret, and mature reflection. His life, which to me, when I read the book, seems very Shakespearean, was shaped by decisions taken during India's most turbulent years, ultimately which led to his exit from Jammu and Kashmir. And it is shared in the book that only his ashes came back. So at this stage of your life, sir, how do you reflect on your father's choices during the years around independence? And on a deeply personal level, how do you reconcile the son's search for understanding and approval?
You see, my father was in a very difficult position. Jammu and Kashmir was a Muslim majority state, contiguous to Pakistan. The country had been partitioned on the basis of religion. So obviously there was a pressure that the state should automatically go to Pakistan. It was understandable. There was a group also within the state. Yusuf Shah the or Jammu mein wo the, kya naam unka, jo Mirza Sahab, jo ke pro-Pakistan the. On the other hand, we realized that the sort of Islam that Pakistan was preaching was not the Islam of Kashmir. It was not the Islam of Makhdoom Sahab and of Chirari Sharif and of Baba Rishi, jahan hum jate the bachpon mein hazri bharne. It was a totally different kind of Islam. And of course then there was the Hindu, the Dogra background. My father was a Dogra. He was the leader of the Dogras. So he was in a very difficult position. And I suggest for those of you who are studying J&K, if you read my autobiography, along with the instrument of accession, he wrote a letter to Lord Mountbatten. Yes. People don't read that letter for some odd reason. वो accession पे जाते चिट्ठी नहीं पढ़ते. That was written on the same day and date as the instrument of accession, 26th of October 1947. In that he says, I was wondering which of the two dominions to join, or whether it would be better for my state to stand independent, of course with good relations with both. Obviously that was what he preferred. That was what Sheikh Abdullah also preferred ultimately. Both came to grief for the same reason. Because that was not a practical proposition. So therefore, I don't want to be critical of him, but I do feel that he should have made up his mind a little earlier. He waited a little too long. तो उस वक्त तक उनका कबाइलियों का हमला शुरू हो गया था पाकिस्तानी, and the battle was already fought. Shaltang तक पहुंच गए थे. Shaltang is just next door to the airport, Kathmandu airport. At that time then, my father asked for help. India ने कहा आप हमारा हिस्सा ही नहीं है, how can we help you? So until you sign the instrument accession, we cannot help you. Because you are not part of India, it will be against international law. तब उन्होंने साइन किया और तब इंडियन आर्मी आई और हवाई जहाज़ से आए, आपको पता, और पहला जो बटालियन आया कर्नल आया कि दैट वाज वाइप्ड आउट, फिर दूसरे आए, तीसरे आए, तो बार बार श्रीनगर बचा. सो वो ज़रा थोड़ी सी उसमें देर लगी, सॉरी.
और ये तो पॉलिटिकल बात थी सर. ऑन अ पर्सनल लेवल, on a personal level also there was some reconciliation that probably happened later.
पर्सनल लेवल तो ये थे कि बापूजी वैसे भी बम्बई जाते थे हर साल, बहुत पसंद करते थे बॉम्बे को. वो ही वॉज अ ग्रेट पेट्रन ऑफ द टर्फ, और देयर वाज always a heady sort of rivalry between the Gaikwad horses, the Scindia horses and the Jammu Kashmir horses. वो राजा महाराजाओं की तो खटपट लगी रहती थी ना हमेशा, चाहे वो थे चाहे वो वनवास में थे. तो वो सारा तमाशा चलता था, घोड़े, weight, small book, big book were. So he used to do that. So after he left the state, he more or less settled in Bombay. अलग अलग जगह पे, पहले एक पे फिर दूसरे, फिर अल्टीमेटली उन्होंने पेडर रोड पे हरि भवन अपने फ्लैट बनाए, और पूना के वक्त, पूना रेसिंग के वक्त पुणे चले जाते थे. तो हम जाते थे हर साल मत्था टेकने, और यही था. वापस आ नहीं पाए वो. कई लोग चाहते थे कि वो वापस आए, लेकिन वो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने कोई उसमें सहयोग नहीं दिया, तो अंत में उनकी अस्थियाँ ही ले आया मैं वापस.
अच्छा, मैं थोड़ा माहौल चेंज करती हूँ, और मैं सर आपको हेलन केलर की कहानी सुनाने को कहती हूँ. तो शी हैड कम टू इंडिया ऑन अ गुडविल ट्रिप इन 1955, एंड दैट इज व्हेन डॉक्टर करण सिंह हैड अ मीटिंग, चांस मीटिंग विद हर एट द एयरपोर्ट विद हेलन केलर.
हेलन केलर,
वो कहानी सुनाइए.
अरे नहीं, हेलन केलर यू नो वाज द ग्रेट extraordinary woman, deaf and dumb. So she came to Jammu airport. She was passing through. मैंने कहा मैं तो मिलूंगा उनको, because she was such a good. So when I said I'm Karan Singh, she put her hands over my face and said, handsome.
And we agree, all of us really agree. We agree, sir. Handsome matlab drop dead gorgeous is what we will say here. So एक मतलब बहुत ही अच्छी बात हो गई कि मैम भी बहुत ही खूबसूरत थी, वरना फिर तो गजब ही हो जाता. So चलिए अब मैं दिल्ली आ.
नेल्सन मंडेला ने क्या कहा आपको पता?
नहीं, क्या कहा?
The biggest compliment I've ever gotten in my life. I was sent to South Africa. मच्छर बहुत है चंडीगढ़ में यार. चंडीगढ़ तो नया शहर है, इसमें तेरे मच्छर कहाँ से आ गए? तो मुझे I was sent here to represent the government of India in 1970. I'm trying to think of the date. 1972, I think, the year that Gandhiji came to South Africa. Sorry, 1989, I've skipped. 1982. क्या कह रहे हैं आप ऐसा? Confusion. Whatever it was the anniversary of Gandhiji's arrival in South Africa. और उसी वक्त इत्तेफाक से Nelson Mandela had been released after 25 years in jail in Robben Island. तो वो भी उन functions में थे. It was a great privilege to meet Nelson Mandela. Not a trace of bitterness, that man. 25 साल जेल में रहे, लेकिन not a trace in his speeches, in his way he was talking. So what happened one evening was that there was this function. तो नेल्सन मंडेला बोले, मैं भी बोला. बोलने में तो मैं तेज था हमेशा. तो मेरे बोलने के बाद Nelson goes up and taps Asha on the back and says, "You are lucky to be married to this man." अब बताइए इससे बड़ा मुझे कहाँ से कॉम्प्लीमेंट मिलेगा?
अभी हम अपनी बड़ी अच्छी बातें कर रहे हैं, तो ये भी बता दीजिए कि जब मदर आपसे मिली, मदर मीरा, फिर आपके बारे में उन्होंने कुछ बोला था.
क्या बोला?
उन्होंने कहा था ही इज़ अ वेरी नाइस मैन, ही इज़ अ वेरी नाइस मैन. शी टोल्ड सब, मैं ये इधर उधर पढ़ के आई हूँ, सर गूगल करके. So she said to one of her followers after you left and you had worked over there, and she said, "He's a very nice man. He is a very nice man. Twice she said
To
that.
whom? Regarding?
Regarding you,
To whom did she say
I
that?
don't remember who it was.
I
One of the
don't.
followers in the ashram.
No idea.
Okay, I will find this nugget and tell you. So sir, coming to Delhi now, दिल्ली आ जाते हैं.
Yes.
जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी के साथ आपने already मुझे बताया, लेकिन कुछ और बताइएगा. How was it to come to Delhi? No, with Jawaharlal Nehru to Delhi, and so what did you learn from him that you've already said? But how was it working with him? उनके साथ काम करना कैसा था?
You see, we started coming to Delhi quite long before we actually came in together. मैं उस वक्त तंग पड़ गया था सदर रियासत का. मैंने कहा मैं सारी उम्र सदर रियासत बन के नहीं बैठूंगा यहाँ. सब कहते थे आप क्या कर रहे हैं, आपको. मैंने कहा नहीं, ठीक है मैंने कर लिया, निभा लिया, लेकिन मुझे अब ज़्यादा आई वांट टू गो इनटू द लार्जर इंडिया. मैं सदर रियासत फंसा रहा हूँ सारी उम्र, वो टेप काटता रहूँ, अस्पताल खोलता रहूँ, मुझे और भी कुछ काम करने हैं. तो मैंने इंदिरा गांधी को जोर दिया कि देखो मैं निकलना चाहता हूँ. चिट्ठियाँ लिखी मैंने. तो पहले तो 90 पहली इलेक्शन कब हुई थी? 67 में, नहीं 67 में तो मैं आया था. उससे पहले 66 में इलेक्शन हुई थी. पहले पंडित जी गुजर गए 64 में, फिर लाल बहादुर शास्त्री आ गए, वो गुजर गए. फिर पहली इलेक्शन हुई 66 में, इंदिरा गांधी बन गई लीडर, मोरारजी देसाई डिप्टी लीडर थे. तो उन्होंने कहा अभी ठहर जाओ, वेट फॉर अ ईयर. तो 67 में जब फिर से इलेक्शन होने लगी तो मैंने कहा देखो मैं तो आ ही रहा हूँ. आई मोर और लेस फोर्स्ड माई सेल्फ इन टू दिल्ली. तो मैं यहाँ आ गया तो उन्होंने रिंग आया सुशीतल बैनर्जी का रात को कि द प्राइम मिनिस्टर वांट्स यू टू जॉइन एज मिनिस्टर फॉर टूरिज्म एंड सिविल एविएशन. सो ऑन द 15th of March 1967 I became cabinet minister with Mrs. Gandhi. और 10 साल I was with her as cabinet minister. अब लोग कहते हैं बड़ी डिक्टेटर थी, ये थी. कैबिनेट में तो नहीं थी, मैं बताऊँ आपको. कैबिनेट में तो बल्कि हमारा टेबल पार्लियामेंट में जो होता था अलग, मेरी कुर्सी उनसे ऑपोजिट आती थी. मुझे कई बार कहना पड़ता था इंदिरा जी आगे चले आगे चले. वो बंद ही नहीं किसी को करती थी. She let everybody go on and on forever. I had to say which. So ये जो आइडिया था कि किसी को बोलने नहीं देती थी जी, वो बड़ी, ऐसा नहीं था.
अच्छा अच्छा.
कैबिनेट में तो नहीं था. बाहर हो के होगी, पार्टी में होगी, कैबिनेट में ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं था. She was very thoughtful and very prepared to listen to everybody's views.
Well, that's a really interesting input because as you said, the impression about her is that she was very autocratic or quite centralized in that sense. So, sir, a cabinet minister, जब आप Indira Gandhi, when you served with her as cabinet ministers, so which initiatives or achievements stand out most clearly to you at that time?
You see, my first ministry was Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation. वो नई बनी थी. पहले ये सब ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड शिपिंग में थी. ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड शिपिंग या VKRV राव को टूरिज्म था. दैट वाज समथिंग which I liked very much, क्योंकि कश्मीर was the first state to have a tourist bureau. महाराजा प्रताप सिंह के वक्त पे बना था और टूरिस्ट वहाँ आते ही आते थे. तो मैंने बहुत काम किया टूरिज्म में. सारे हिंदुस्तान में घूम के मैंने बनाए. आपको आश्चर्य होगा, साउथ ऑफ दिल्ली देयर वाज नो 5-star होटल इन इंडिया. तो मैंने बेंगलोर में अशोका बनाया, फिर मैंने वो कोवलम बीच रिजॉर्ट बनाया, क्या क्या नहीं किया, बहुत कुछ काम किया. आई एन्जॉयड दैट वेरी मच. और जो पोस्टर्स थे हमारे, जो DAVP निकालते थे, उनको मैंने प्राइवेटाइज किया. सो वी कम आउट विद दिस ब्यूटिफुल पोस्टर्स. क्योंकि मैंने क्या किया था, टूरिज्म ITDC में प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लोगों को लाया. मैं रमेश थापर
जी,
जो एडिटर थे,
जी जी जी,
जर्सन डकोनिया जो बम्बई में एक सोशल एक्टिविस्ट रहे, अशोक चैटर्जी आई थिंक जो उसके चेयरमैन हो गए नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिज़ाइन. इस किस्म के लोगों को मैं लाया. सो दैट चेंज द टेक्सचर ऑफ आवर टूरिज्म प्रमोशन. Instead of becoming a purely governmental thing,
very bureaucratic.
it became something quite different.
Yeah, very vibrant.
So I think that was a big achievement.
Well, I think, with the whole vibrance of the tourism industry today really owes a lot to
And
your
in
initiatives.
aviation, let me tell you, I took 2 decisions. The first was बोइंग 737 एंड DC-3। ज़बरदस्त लॉबीज थी दोनों की, पार्लियामेंट में भी थी। मैं नहीं कहना चाहता हूँ कौन कहाँ था, क्यों थे, पार्लियामेंट में भी थी, दोनों ने बहुत जोर लगाया। तो मैंने कहा नहीं, आई विल पुट इट थ्रू अ कंप्यूटर। उस वक्त नए नए कंप्यूटर आए थे, डॉक्टर मिन्हास थे एक, उन्होंने कंप्यूटर शुरू की थी। तो थ्रू द कंप्यूटर बोइंग केम आउट। आई सेड आई एम गोइंग फॉर बोइंग।
या
नाउ दैट वाज द बेस्ट डिसीजन टेकन, बिकॉज टू दिस डे बोइंग अभी तक चल रही है।
एब्सोल्युटली
दूसरा, मैंने एयरबस खरीदा यूरोप से,
जी।
वहाँ भी अलग अलग थे, वहाँ भी कई किस्म के थे। तो यूरोपियन एयरबस और अमेरिकन बोइंग, these were my two decisions. And one decision only I overruled J.R.D. Tata. He was chairman of Air India. He wanted to buy the Caravelle, you remember? Oh, post faster than sound wala
अच्छा
Caravelle, Concorde, I beg your pardon, Concorde. He wanted to buy Concorde. I said no. These are never going to work. So that was the only occasion in which I overruled him on the file. And it turned out to be a correct decision.
It was a
because
great decision.
that Concorde collapsed.
या
वो थोड़ी देर उड़ने के बाद वो पोस्ट साउंड वो जहाज ही खत्म हो गया. So those were some good achievements in my first term.
Yeah. So I'm now going to come to environment and conservation and responsibility. तो आपका जो काम है conservation में, from your role on the Indian Board of Wildlife to the launch of Project Tiger. हाँ जी, that actually reflects your spirit of Vasudev Kutumbakam. हाँ जी.
जी, ऐसा हुआ कि मुझे इंदिरा जी ने कहा कि the Indian Board for Wildlife is not functional. Will you chair it? I said certainly.
Yeah.
I love wildlife. कश्मीर में wildlife बहुत. तो पहली मीटिंग तो हो गई. दूसरी मीटिंग में आप सबको हैरानगी होगी, हमारा नेशनल एनिमल टाइगर नहीं था, लायन था. जो राष्ट्रीय चिन्ह हमारा है ना, शेर, सारनाथ वाला, इट वाज अ लायन. मैंने कहा लायन तो सिर्फ जूनागढ़ में मिलती है एक जगह में, और टाइगर तो सारा हिमाचल से लेके नीचे तक और असम से लेके. तो हमने पास किया रेजोल्यूशन उसमें बोर्ड में, रिक्वेस्टिंग द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया to change the national animal from the lion to the tiger. Indira ji ko bheja, she accepted it, got it through part. That is how the tiger became the national animal. But everybody is celebrating Project Tiger. मेरा नाम ही नहीं कोई लेता जिसने बनाया टाइगर को.
टाइगर ने खुद नेशनल ये शुरू किया.
My enemies say I did it because my pet name was Tiger. That's not true. It's a coincidence.
देखिए, अगर मैं ना होता तो मतलब कुछ भी नाम हो सकता था. तो अच्छा, ये बताइए कि जो एक सेंस ऑफ इंटरकनेक्टेडनेस थी सर आपने, अगेन कमिंग बैक टू दिस होल वासुदेव कुटुंबकम, so that interconnectedness it guided your relationship with nature, and how did that influence your policy? आपकी जो sense of वासुदेव कुटुंबकम थी.
देखिए, वो actually the animal thing is different. That is a separate chapter. But the interfaith movement in which I was involved, I grew up as a Hindu. We were in a Muslim majority state. As I said, we were used to go to the Muslim shrines. सिखों से तो अमृतसर से तो हमारा परिवार उठा, हम कभी उनका एहसान नहीं भूल सकते. महाराजा रणजीत सिंह जी की आशीर्वाद से तो राजा गुलाब सिंह उठे, नहीं तो राज ही नहीं बनना था. तो सिखों के साथ तो हमारा दरबार साहब तो वैसे ही मानते हैं जैसे अपना रघुनाथ मंदिर है. तो क्रिश्चियन स्कूल में पढ़ा, तो क्रिश्चियन स्कूल, कॉन्वेंट स्कूल, उससे मदर एंड चाइल्ड की छोटे छोटे पिक्चर्स थे. और तो ये हर एक धर्मों का मेरा बचपन से ही साथ रहा. तो फिर एक इंटरफेथ मूवमेंट है. 1872 में, आई हैव नॉट गॉट माय डेट राइट, 1872 शिकागो में पहली बार पार्लियामेंट ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिलीजन्स हुई, जहाँ स्वामी विवेकानंद गए थे. तो वहाँ से वो चलता रहा. 100 साल के बाद उन्होंने फिर शुरू किया, तो मैं फिर उसमें इन्वॉल्व हो गया इंटरफेथ में. और अब मैंने एक टेम्पल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंडिया फाउंडेशन बनाई है, जिसमें हम इंटरफेस करते हैं.
एंड अभी सॉरी मैं इंटरप्ट कर,
कुटुंबकम की बात
जी प्लीज बताइए.
वही बात है.
अच्छा,
चिन्ह वही है कि सारे धर्म जो है, एकम सत विप्रः बहुधा वदंती, सच्चाई एक है. अभी तक धर्म करने के अलग अलग है.
और अभी रिसेंटली ओनली सर आई थिंक इन द टेम्पल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग फाउंडेशन आप अभी भी चेयर करते हैं उसको
Yeah.
और आपने एक ग्लोबल सीज फायर एंड रिन्यू डायलॉग के लिए यू कॉल्ड आई थिंक इट वाज ऑन द 5th of April इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन एंड सर अभी गिवन द ह्यूमन कल्चरल एंड एनवायरमेंटल टोल ऑफ द करंट कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स आपको कितना लगता है कि कितने इम्पोर्टेंट और इफेक्टिव आर इंटरफेथ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस इन प्रमोटिंग पीस
Present wars तो total disaster है.
जी.
They are a human disaster, they are an environmental disaster. सारे environment में जो पुराने सारे भवन थे वो सब बॉम्ब हो गए. क्रोएशिया में भी बड़े पुराने वो लगे हुए हैं और इसमें जो हमास के साथ जो लड़ाई हुई है इसके साथ हज़ारों को कत्ल किया गया है. ये जूइश और इस्लामिक बड़ी देर से यूक्रेन के जितने पुराने वो स्थान थे वो सब बॉम्ब हो गए. सो इट्स बीन अ डिज़ास्टर फ्रॉम एवरी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, फ्रॉम अ ह्यूमन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, फ्रॉम एन एनवायरमेंटल पॉइंट, एंड इट further brings to the fore the importance of interfaith harmony. ये तबाही से बात कोई बनेगी नहीं.
सब
दूर हो गया बस थैंक
कंफर्टेबल इज दिस कंफर्टेबल
आई एम रेडी व्हेनेवर यू. आप सारी रात चलते रहो. आई एम
मैं तो
रेडी.
बहुत खुश हूँ मैं तो बहुत खुश हूँ.
मुझे तो कोई जल्दी है नहीं.
ठीक है सर.
अब ये इनको पूछ लीजिए कितना टाइम रखा है, हॉल कब तक ले रखा है,
हॉल तो
किराया दिया होगा हॉल का भी, वो कब तक दिया है, हॉल वालों को पूछिए. मैं नहीं कह सकता हूँ कुछ.
चलिए हॉल अपना ये कह रही हैं. चलिए फिर शाम भी अपनी है फिर सर, नो प्रॉब्लम. अच्छा सर ये बताएं, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, अब मैं अगेन आई एम रेफरेंसिंग प्रोजेक्ट टाइगर. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि अभी जो इंटरवेंशंस हुई हैं लाइक द कूनो चीता दैट रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन इंडियाज होप फॉर रिस्टोरिंग नेचर but they also call for careful judgment. Based on your experience at Project Tiger, how do you think India should balance the effort to rewild with ecological caution when you're introducing non-native species?
Yes, well, you know, the Project Tiger, by the way, has been probably the most successful conservation project in the world. There are over 3,000 tigers now. टाइगर ख़त्म होते जा रहे थे. अगर हम ये नहीं चलाते इस वक्त तक टाइगर का नामो निशान मिट जाना. तो एज इंडिया डेवलप्स वी गॉट टू मेंटेन आवर इकोलॉजिकल इंटेग्रिटी ऑल्सो, बट ऑल्सो डेवलप. नाउ देयर इज ऑलवेज सम काइंड ऑफ अ subtle conflict between development. It need not be. If you develop intelligently, for example, you make underpasses for the elephants to pass. They don't get run over by the trains. तो जो भी हम डेवलपमेंट करें सोच समझ के करें, पशुओं का भी ध्यान रखते हुए करें. वी आर नॉट द ओनली इनहैबिटेंट्स ऑफ प्लैनेट अर्थ. वो भी यहीं रहते हैं, हमारे इसी पृथ्वी पे रहते हैं. और हमारे शास्त्रों में तो आपको पता हर एक देवता का अलग अलग वाहन है, अलग अलग पंछी है, एक पशु है. तो वो तो सब चीज़ें हमारे में निहित है.
सो फिर सर मैं 1974 पे आती हूँ.
हाँ जी.
जब आपने वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन कॉन्फ्रेंस जो हुई थी इन बुकारेस्ट, you had famously said that development is the best contraceptive. By the way, I love that line. Development is the best contraceptive. But shortly thereafter, India's population policy took a far more coercive turn during emergency. So, with the benefit of hindsight, how do you reconcile your humane vision with the very painful way that the population policy unfolded in the mid-1970s?
Is that the policy?
You had a very humane vision when
Yes.
when you propagated the policy, but it took another turn altogether. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि how do you reconcile that, your vision with the way it unfolded?
You see, let me say first of all, Indira ji ki her finest hour was the liberation of Bangladesh. आप लोगों को कोई वो याद नहीं रहेगा कि बांग्लादेश जब बन रहा था, हाउ इन्वॉल्व वी वर. हम अपनी इंडिपेंडेंस में इतने इन्वॉल्व नहीं थे जितने कि बांग्लादेश की इंडिपेंडेंस में थे. और मैं हाउस में था जब इंदिरा जी आई, वो कभी फ्रस्ट्रेट नहीं होती थी, उस दिन भाग के आई. मिस्टर चेयरमैन, आई गॉट एन अनाउंसमेंट टू मेक. House fell shut. Dhaka has fallen to the Indian army. Bas, the house erupted in joy. You can't imagine how happy we were. That was her finest hour. And her darkest hour was the emergency. तो मैं दोनों में उनके साथ. और मैंने लिखा है, इन्होंने भी लिखा होगा, I have not tried to pull my punches. No, you have not. जो बातें हुई थी वो मैं सब लिखी.
Sir, I'm coming to it. So now I'm moving on from everything and I'm coming to the inner life and your spiritual path. So आपकी journey, sir, has been shaped by many streams, from Chirobindo to Swami Vivekanand to your initiation by Sri Madhav Ashish and Sri Krishna Prem at Mirtola, and later it was also recorded in a book called Letters from Mirtola. How did these encounters help you to understand how inner seeking and public responsibility can coexist?
You see, they had to coexist because this is a common misunderstanding that if you're in politics, you can't be interested in religion. It's not true. जब मैं आया पहले तो मुझे एक फ्रेंड ने कहा कि करण सिंह, अब तुम्हें अपने गीता के लेक्चर बंद करने पड़ेंगे. मैंने कहा क्यों? अब तुम कैबिनेट में आए हो. मैंने कहा देखो, मैं राज्य छोड़ के आया हूँ, धर्म छोड़ के नहीं आया हूँ. मैं गीता पे बोलूँगा और डट के बोलूँगा. Therefore, I carried on. अच्छा, मेरे आप एक गुरु नहीं हुए, 4 गुरु हुए. एक शाक्त गुरु थे, एक वैष्णव गुरु थे. शाक्त गुरु कश्मीरी पंडित थे, वैष्णव गुरु अंग्रेज थे, शैव गुरु अमेरिकन थे, और सूफी गुरु उस्ताद विलायत खान के लड़के थे, फिर इंडियन. तो चारों ने मुझे अलग अलग मंत्र दिए. तो उससे मैंने ये सीखा, आनो भद्रा कृतवो यंतु विश्वत. जहाँ से अच्छे विचार आए उनको अपना लेना चाहिए. अंततो गतवा अगर भगवान हैं तो हम लोग 10 भी लोग बैठे हुए 10 तो नहीं होंगे ना कि अलग अलग के अलग भगवान होंगे. अगर कोई ऐसी शक्ति है तो होगी तो एक ही. आप इस तरफ से शंकराचार्य चढ़े, आप उस तरफ से चढ़े, आप हरिपर्वत की तरफ से जाएं, जहाँ जाएं कई तरीके हैं ऊपर पहुँचने को, लेकिन पहुँचना तो एक ही जगह है. इसलिए मैं इस बात के ऊपर मुझे पूरा यकीन और रहा है 2 बातों पे. एक तो सब धर्म जो है आखिर एक रास्ते पे एक जगह जा रहे हैं. दूसरा ये है कि हम बाहर चाहे कुछ भी करें, अंदरूनी जर्नी जो हमारी है वो नहीं छोड़नी है, वो हमने करते रहना. चाहे किसी ढंग से करें, आप ध्यान करें, आप किताबें पढ़ें, आप जप करें, आप योगा करें, आप टाई ची करें, जो मर्जी करें आप, लेकिन कुछ ना कुछ करते रहिए. कृपा करके ये नहीं तो लोग सारी उम्र बीत जाती है, कभी उन्होंने अंदर नहीं देखा अपने आप को, और इससे पहले कि वो अंदर देखें वो ख़त्म हो जाते हैं. तो जब हमें मौका मिला है तो हम बाहर तो करते रहें डट के काम, कर्म योग, कि कुछ अंदर भी देखिए. कुछ बैठ के क्वाइटली 5 मिनट अपने आप को भी देखिए, देखने की कोशिश कीजिए. ये मैं आपको मशवरा, मैं गुरु नहीं हूँ, लेकिन मैं हाथ जोड़ के कह रहा हूँ, इससे आपको फ़ायदा होगा, लाभ होगा.
That's fantastic. अच्छा सर, एक सवाल मैं पूछना भूल गई इमरजेंसी के टाइम का. तो जब ये सब खलबली सी मची हुई थी, तो तब आपके 2 लेडीज़ थी आपके फैमिली में, एक आपकी सुपुत्री और एक आपकी योर वाइफ आशा जी. तो ये दोनों बाहर निकल के, आशा जी मेरे ख्याल से जाके पोस्टर
ये भी एक चमत्कार बात आपको. तो मैं इंदिरा गांधी की कैबिनेट में था, इमरजेंसी में थी, और आशा मेरी पत्नी 2 लेडीज़ को लेके रातों रात जाके एंटी गवर्नमेंट वो चिपकाती थी दीवारों पे. बताइए कितने खतरे में था मैं. अगर वो पकड़ी जाती तो मैं भी गया था जेल में. मगर हिम्मत देखिए, नहीं ये नहीं थी, ज्योति छोटी थी. उस वक्त एक राज थापर थी, रमेश की वाइफ, और एक मिसेस जुत्सी थी, एक डेंटिस्ट थे डॉक्टर जुत्सी, उनकी पत्नी थी। वो 3 जाते थे। माँ यूज्ड टू ड्राइव हर ओन कार, अपनी गाड़ी में जाती थी। मैंने नहीं कभी पूछा तुम कहाँ जा रहे हो और कब आ रहे हो, इतना मुझे उनके ऊपर विश्वास था।
That is actually really brave and quite rebellious, I have to say. So now coming back to the mother, Sri Aurobindo and Auroville sir. तो माँ जो मीरा अल्फासा थी, आप उनसे पहली बार 1956 में मिले थे।
जी हाँ।
और उस and over time you developed not just a disciple guru bond but a psychic or a spiritual link. That's how you have described
She
it.
was.
हाँ जी। So पहले तो ये बताइए कि पहली मीटिंग के बारे में बताइए।
नहीं, ऐसा है ना कि श्री अरविंदो को तो हम दर्शन किए नहीं, बल्कि हमने सबसे पहले नाम वो तो 5 दिसंबर श्री अरविंदो पासेस अवे, 50 मिनट का ये कौन है, फिर वो तो बाद में मैंने डिस्कवर किए। तो मदर इतनी देर में चला रही थी सारी आश्रम श्री अरविंदो के बाद भी, तो मैंने कहा उनको तो कम दर्शन करें। तो जब हम गए 56 में, माँ जी भी थे, आशा भी थी, बच्चे नहीं थे उन दिनों में, तो हम जाके मिले उनसे। कोई ऐसी ड्रामेटिक बात नहीं हुई, लेकिन शी वॉज ऑब्वियसली शी वॉज अ वुमन हु एक्सुडेड अ सर्टन स्पिरिचुअल एम्बियंस। तो उसके बाद 2-3 बार मिला हूँ मैं, उन्होंने जिक्र भी किया है मेरा अपनी डायरी में, तो जाता रहा मैं। फिर ऑरोविल जो आइडिया था उनका ही था, उन्होंने ही बनाया, उसका मैं अध्यक्ष रहा 20 साल।
आपका डॉक्टरल थीसिस भी जो था वो प्रॉफिट ऑफ इंडियन नेशनलिज्म विच वाज लेटर पब्लिश्ड एज अ बुक एंड विद अ फॉरवर्ड बाय जवाहरलाल नेहरू। तो उसका श्री अरबिंदो का स्पेसिफिक मैं इसे पूछ रही हूँ बिकॉज मैं खुद भी बहुत डिवोटी हूँ। तो श्री अरबिंदो की पॉलिटिकल और स्पिरिचुअल थॉट, पॉलिटिकल एंड स्पिरिचुअल थॉट ने आपका वर्ल्ड व्यू और लाइफ का काम कैसे शेप किया?
देखिए, पॉलिटिकल थॉट तो 1905 में जब भंग हुआ था, पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल by Lord Curzon, that was the first mass uprising against the British. बंगालियों ने जो किया था, तो श्री अरबिंदो बड़ौदा नौकरी छोड़ के और वहाँ गए, 5 साल वो वहाँ रहे। ही शॉन लाइक अ मीटियर। जेल में गए, अलीपुर जेल, वो अभी तक वो जेल वो कोठरी है। तो उनका असर तो मेरे पर पड़ा इन द सेंस के ही वॉज अ ग्रेट नेशनलिस्ट एंड ऑल, बट उनकी स्पिरिचुअल थॉट जो थी दैट वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, दैट वाज एवोल्यूशनरी, कि भी ही वाज एन एवोल्यूशनरी थिंकर लाइक तायद शारदा इन द वेस्ट, although I'm afraid the evolutionary thinkers are being proved wrong. I don't think humanity is evolving into any higher level. If anything, I think we are regressing to the lower level. But nonetheless, that was his philosophy that attracted me greatly. I was an idealistic young man, so I was greatly attracted by that philosophy.
सर ऑरोविल के बारे में बताइएगा। और आपने you played a pivotal role in the Auroville institutional history, and you raised the issue in Parliament, and then you shaped the Auroville Foundation Act, and then you served as the first chairman of the governing board for 2 decades.
20 years. Yes.
हाँ जी। तो उसमें आपको what do you consider your most meaningful contributions, और ऑरोविल का पर्पस आज आपको कैसे नजर आता
You
है?
see, Auroville एक यूनिक शहर है। इट्स अ मल्टी रीजनल, मल्टी लिंग्विस्टिक, मल्टी रिलीजियस, 50 देश के लोग रहते हैं वहाँ, अलग अलग यूरोपियन देश। एंड येट दे ऑल लिव इन अ हार्मोनियस सोसाइटी विच द मदर हैड ब्रॉट अबाउट। इट इज़ अ वेरी यूनिक एक्सपीरियंस, एंड आई वॉज वेरी मच इन्वॉल्व इन इट बिकॉज आई हैड ब्रॉट अप द मैटर इन पार्लियामेंट जब इनकी खटपट हुई थी। फिर वो मातृ मंदिर बना जिसका फ़ोटो आप सब देखते हैं। तो मुझे ये कहना पड़ता है कि मेरे चेयरमैनशिप छोड़ने के बाद जो अब पिछले 4-5 वर्ष में जो हुआ है वो विपरीत है। मैं यही कहूँगा, मैं किसी की टिप्पणी नहीं करना चाहता। दैट इज़ अगेंस्ट द होल थियरी अपॉन विच ऑरोविल इज बिल्ट।
तो सर हमारे पास अब 5 मिनट और हैं, तो मैं 2 सवाल आपसे करूँगी। एक तो सर मैंने सुना है कि
हाँ जी,
ये मैंने सुना है कि आपको ना बड़ी हंसी आती है, हंसी बहुत आती है। जब आप हंसते हो तो आप इतना अनकंट्रोलेबल हंसते हो कि हंस हंस के यू नो टीयर्स कम डाउन योर चीक्स।
हंसता था मैं बहुत।
अभी भी। तो बताइए कि
आजकल
किस बात पे इतनी हंसी आया करती थी और अभी आपको क्या डिलाइट करता है?
अब कहना नहीं चाहिए मुझे, लेकिन कभी कभी पार्लियामेंट को देख के हंसी आती है, लेकिन वो मैं नहीं, वैसे आई ऑलवेज हैड अ सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर।
या
आई वाज ब्रॉट अप बाय ब्रिटिश गार्डियन, तो उनके यहाँ सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर हमेशा, तो मुझे बहुत कई बातों के ऊपर हंसी। अभी कभी कभी मैं रात को हंसता रहता हूँ, तो वो जो नौकर होता है वो कहता है पता नहीं क्या हो गया इसको, ये रात को सोए सोए हंस रहे हैं। मुझे अनकंट्रोलेबल हंसी आती है कई बातों पे। ज्योति को पता, ज्योति और मैं बहुत हंसते हैं आपस में, तो हंसी भी अच्छी चीज़ होती है,
बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है।
देखिए एक फ़र्क जानवर और इंसान में क्या है, जानवर नहीं हंस सकता, इंसान हंस सकता है। जानवर रो सकता है, इंसान रो सकता है, हंस नहीं सकता। तो हंसी भी एक भगवान की देन है, मैं मानता हूँ।
अच्छा सर, लास्ट एक रिफ्लेक्टिव क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछती हूँ। तो when you look back on a life that has held together privilege and renunciation, power and restraint, action and contemplation, is there one truth, simple or hard one, that has stayed with you through all these years?
The one truth is that the force that ultimately impels you is within. You can go to temples, you can go to mosques, you can go to gurdwaras, but ultimately the force is within you. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe tishtati. The Lord resides in the heart of all beings. इसलिए चाहे बाहर का कुछ भी हो, अंदर को नहीं छोड़ना। मैं शिव जी का भक्त हूँ, तो शिव जी शायद छूट मुझे कर दे, मैं तो नहीं छोड़ूंगा आसानी से।
That is beautiful.
निकलना भी चाहे तो मैं नहीं
निकल नहीं सकते, क्योंकि पकड़ के जकड़ के रखा हुआ है। और सर जाने में आपको दे नहीं सकती जब तक आप कुछ हमें सुनाए ना, या तो फैज सुना दीजिए, या श्री अरबिंदो सुना दीजिए, या फैज सुना दीजिए। भाई क्या सुनना चाहती है?
उर्दू सुनिए, डोगरी सुनिए, पंजाबी सुनिए, हिंदी सुनिए, उर्दू सुनिए, उर्दू।
फैज सुनाइए सर, उर्दू सुनाइए।
हाँ,
उर्दू सुनाइए, शेर सुनाइए।
फैज़ साहब आए थे हमारी कोठी पे, फैज़ अहमद फैज़। उनकी एक गज़ल मुझे बहुत पसंद थी जो उन्होंने खुद बताई। तुम आए हो न शबे इंतज़ार गुज़री है, तलाश में है सहर बार बार गुज़री है, जनू में जितनी भी गुज़री बकार गुज़री है, अगरचे दिल पे ख़राबी हज़ार गुज़री है। वो बात सारे फसाने में जिसका ज़िक्र न था, वो बात उनको बहुत नागवार गुज़री है। और मोहब्बत में नहीं है फ़र्क जीने और मरने, वो तो आ गया। और न गुल खिले हैं, नहीं, फ़िज़ा के हाथों गुलों पर न जाने क्या गुज़री। ये कश्मीर के बारे में कई बार मुझे ख्याल आता। फ़िज़ा के हाथों गुलों पर न जाने क्या गुज़री, चमन से आज सबा बेकरार गुज़री है। और न गुल खिले हैं, न उनसे मिले, न मैं पी है, अजीब रंग में अब के बाहर गुज़री है। तुम आए हो न शबे इंतज़ार गुज़री है, तलाश में
Yeah, I'm taking. So we have a few questions. I mean, I'm going to open the. अभी 5 मिनट।
हाँ ठीक है, कोई जल्दी नहीं।
तो we have
सवाल
a few minutes for question and answers. So would the audience, anybody from the audience who wants to ask a question? The only thing that I'm going to, मैं just एक request करना मांग रही हूँ, और वो ये है कि please अपने recollections या don't आप लीजिएगा सर. Just make it brief so that lots of people can ask lots of questions.
ये वो जाने को नहीं खड़ा हुआ था, लोग खड़े होते इसलिए मैं खड़ा हुआ था।
प्रणाम पहले तो आपको,
प्रणाम।
और राधिका जी को, हरबंस जी को, डॉक्टर सुमिता मिश्रा और डॉक्टर ज्योत्सना जी को। मैं प्रमोद निर्वाण, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता वाला।
ओके
जी, मैं आपसे समझना चाहता हूँ, चूँकि आपका जीवन बहुत सात्विक और भक्ति वाला रहा है, और सब धर्मों के समन्वय के साथ आप जिए हैं, गीता और शैव और बाकी धर्मों के साथ आप किस तरह से समन्वय करते हैं, क्या हमें सिखाना चाहते हैं, वो पूछना चाहूँगा।
अरे ये तो बड़ा लंबा सिलसिला, ये तो लेक्चर करना पड़ेगा मुझे किसी दिन, आप बुलाएं। नहीं देखिए, मैं तो उपनिषद सर्वोपरि मानता हूँ, मैं गीता को सर्वोपरि नहीं मानता। गीता डेरिवेटिव टेक्स्ट है एक, गीता स्मृति है, श्रुति नहीं है, श्रुति उपनिषद है। तो हमारे हिंदू धर्म के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण जो ग्रंथ हैं वो उपनिषद हैं, उन्हीं से ये सब निकले हुए हैं। भगवत गीता का अपना महत्व बहुत है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं, अद्भुत ग्रंथ है उसमें। मगर एक बात याद रखिए, मेरा नाम कर्ण है, अर्जुन नहीं।
जी, जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कि आप एक रॉयल फैमिली से बिलोंग करते हैं। एक टाइम था जब एक पूरा राज्य आपके पास था, आपकी परिवार के पास था। मैं नो डाउट आपका भी एक बहुत रिमार्केबल करियर रहा, आपने देश में भी रिप्रेजेंट किया। बट जब आप अब कश्मीर को देखते हैं या जब उन वादियों में जाते हैं तो कुछ ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ छूट सा गया जो आपका था।
देखिए, ऐसा है कि हमारा तो नहीं था, लोगों का ही था हमेशा, लेकिन वो जो जम्मू कश्मीर था ना, वो सब टूट गया है। गिलगित बल्तिस्तान पहले निकल गया पहली लड़ाई में, अक्साई चीन चाइना ने अपनी लड़ाई में ले लिया। अब जो लद्दाख था साथ, वो भी अलग हो गया। अब केवल जम्मू और कश्मीर रह गए। इन दोनों का संबंध रहा है, तो दोनों के साथ मुझे प्यार है। हमारा घर श्रीनगर में भी है, हमारा घर जम्मू में भी है। मैं इम्तियाज़ नहीं कर सकता हूँ। क्या मुझे लोग पूछते हैं विच इज़ योर होम टाउन? ऐसे भी आई हैव 3 होम टाउन्स, श्रीनगर, जम्मू एंड दिल्ली। अब तीनों जगह में हम रहते हैं, मैं किसका बताऊँ होम टाउन कौन सा है? तो मुझे दोनों जगह में जाके एक लगता है कि भाई मुझे वहाँ का रहने वाला हूँ, वहाँ के लोगों के साथ मेरी हमदर्दी है। हालांकि वो चाहे एक दूसरे के ख़िलाफ़ हों चाहे, लेकिन मेरी हमदर्दी दोनों के साथ रहती है।
प्लीज इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ, इट विल बी नाइस इफ वी नो हु यू आर।
नहीं, इनको कह रहा हूँ मैं, कश्मीरी बैठे हैं ना सामने, ये सर नहीं हिला रहे हैं ना, सर तो हिलाओ यार। चलो हाँ
जी,
हाँ बोलो।
जी मेरा नाम शबीहुल हसनैन है।
हाँ, शबीहुल
और
साहब।
जी मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आपको लकीली आपको इतने फॉर्मेट मिले ज़िंदगी में। आप एक राजा के बेटे थे, फिर आप वहीं के सदर रियासत भी हो गए उस ज़माने में, और उसके बाद जो इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आया उसमें भी आपका बहुत बड़ा रोल रहा एज अ पॉलिटिशियन, एज अ वर्कर। फिर आपके अंदर जो स्पिरिचुअल स्पिरिट है उसने आपको कंपेल किया ह्यूमैनिटी की तरफ। आपने बहुत काम किए हैं, और आज भी आपके अंदर जो म्यूज़िक का शौक़ है, आपके अंदर हंसने का शौक़ है, आपके अंदर तमाम तरह के ये जो पर्सनालिटीज़ के ट्रेट्स हैं, इसमें से कोई एक ऐसा होगा जो आपको सबसे पसंदीदा हो। अगर आपको दोबारा मौका मिले तो आप क्या बनना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, कोई रिग्रेट ऐसा है नहीं। एक रिग्रेट मुझे ज़रूर है, जब हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी 2 बार टूटी। एक बार 69 में टूटी, मोरारजी देसाई वगैरह निकल गए तो हम इंदिरा जी के साथ रहे। दूसरी बार जब टूटी 78 इमरजेंसी के बाद, तो संजय ने अपनी बना ली इंदिरा कांग्रेस, हम नहीं गए उनके साथ। उन दिनों में थोड़ा सा इंदिरा जी का हमने विरोध किया, जो हमें शायद नहीं करना चाहिए था, क्योंकि उन्होंने मेरे साथ बहुत अच्छा सलूक किया था 10 साल भी बाद में भी। तो मुझे थोड़ा सा उससे रिग्रेट है कि मैं थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा उस वक्त बोल गया था। लेकिन देयर वाज सम पोलेमिक इन द पॉलिटिक्स, ऐसी बात नहीं थी। बाद में इंदिरा जी से भी मैं मिला, जाने से पहले उनसे सब बातचीत हो गई थी, तो ऐसी बात नहीं रही। लेकिन ये मुझे एक रिग्रेट छोटा सा रहा, और कोई रिग्रेट नहीं है।
My name is Chandragupta sir. It has been very engaging and absorbing conversation.
थैंक यू।
But during the conversation, I heard you say 2-3 times autobiography. So
Sorry?
autobiography.
Autobiography? No,
Yeah.
I've written my autobiography.
That's what I wanted to know, that you have written an
Yes,
autobiography.
yes,
also.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
That I suggest, if I may say so, that is the best book I've written. And that it takes me up to age 36 when I joined Mrs. Gandhi. बस वही पीरियड, उसको बगैर पढ़ने से कश्मीर, जम्मू कश्मीर को आप नहीं समझ सकते, मैं दावे से कह सकता हूँ।
So, sir, when did your autobiography come?
वो 82 में
Okay, 82.
2 हिस्से में छपी, पहले हेयर अपेरेंट बनी, उसके बाद सदर रियासत बना, फिर कंबाइंड एडिशन ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी प्रेस ने निकाली है।
So, that's
आपके यहाँ बुक शॉप में होनी चाहिए, नहीं हो तो बुक शॉप से कहिए मंगवा लें।
okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Is there a lady who Adesh?
सॉरी,
Good evening, sir. I am Priyanka Sambyal, and I am basically from Samba district, from Jammu region.
Okay.
And it's been a great fortune for me, and I'm so blessed to hear you in front of me, like my first time ever.
Okay.
I'm very overwhelming right now. I am a PhD research scholar here in Punjab University, Chandigarh, and I wrote my thesis on interface of culture and politics in Jammu region.
okay.
Yes. So, sir.
In Jammu region?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Jammu region.
Yes.
Kashmir has always been highlighted, no doubt, on national and international platform, and it really deserves. But Jammu, somewhere ignored, neglected, the Dogra culture and identity. So, what would your take on this? What you would like to say?
My take is that the Dogras have never received the importance and the gratitude they should have, because although it was Sher Punjab Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji who began it, it was the Dogras who actually added to the territory of India. General Zorawar Singh, General Baz Singh, लद्दाख को फतेह करना, गिलगित को फतेह करना, हमने बाकी बहुत बड़े योद्धा हुए हैं, छत्रपति महाराज हुए हैं, राणा प्रताप जी, वो सब भारतवर्ष के अंदर लड़ते रहे। एक डोगरा ही थे जिन्होंने कुर्बानियाँ दे के हज़ारों किलोमीटर हिंदुस्तान को बढ़ाया। तो सब कहते हैं कश्मीर हमारा आपका इसलिए है कि हमने बनाई ये रियासत, हमारे पूर्वजों ने बनाई ये रियासत, तभी आपकी है, और मेरे पिताजी ने आपको लिख के दी तभी आपकी है, इसलिए ये ना भूलिए। और दूसरी बात जो तुमने कही बेटा कि जम्मू कश्मीर में भी जम्मू का नाम ही उड़ जाता है, कश्मीर के लोग कहते हैं भी कश्मीर के, मैंने कहा कश्मीर नामक कोई स्टेट नहीं है, स्टेट जो हमने बनाई थी जम्मू कश्मीर है, आज भी जम्मू कश्मीर है। तो जब तक आप जम्मू की बात नहीं करेंगे कश्मीर की बात अधूरी रहती है। तो ये मुझे बड़ी देर से गिला रहा है दोनों पे, एक तो नेशनल हिस्टोरियंस पे, नेशनल लेवल पे डोगरास को कभी क्रेडिट नहीं मिला, और लोकल लेवल के ऊपर जम्मू निगलेक्ट होता जाता है।
Good evening, sir. My name is Sabyasachi Chaudhary. I'm a human rights activist and Right to Information Act activist. Presently, I'm reading a book titled "Who Really Killed Gandhi" by one Mr. Narayanacharya from Karnataka. In your view, was Nathuram Godse the real assassin of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi or somebody else? And what was the motive behind his assassination?
You see, I don't want to go. Obviously, Nathuram Godse was the one who pulled the trigger. He was the one who killed him. उनके पीछे क्या थी क्या नहीं थी उसमें तो बहुत बातें हुई हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअली तो वही थे जिन्होंने ट्रिगर पुल किया। बाय द वे एक फिल्म बनी है गांधी एंड गोडसे, आप लोगों को देखनी चाहिए, बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग फिल्म है वो।
So this is the last question. I will not be taking any more questions after this.
No question to ask.
Right.
I want to tell you why I am here. As I am from Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi. I have studied there, and as a child, I have heard umpteen lectures of you when we used to be taken in hordes to listen to you on Aurobindo. I represented Delhi on the foundation laying of the Auroville, and I met Mother twice. So there was a connection. And after that, today, so I've run to see that gorgeous, handsome man our mothers used to swoon on.
That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. अच्छा माधव जी लेंगे एक सवाल। अच्छा आप लेंगे, sorry.
Namaskar, sir.
सत श्री अकाल।
I am Manmohan Singh. I am a retired IPS officer. Hello. Myself, Manmohan Singh. I am a retired IPS officer and chairman Chandigarh Sahitya Academy.
Chairman?
Chandigarh Sahitya Academy.
Okay.
I just want to ask the question. When we read Sikh histories, there are a lot of interpretations and reflections about Dogra's roles in Sikh history. And I personally feel that is really not very justified. We have to see the other positions also. And I found as a student of history, there is no much literature available from Dogra sides, what were their positions in the role of history. So I think if you get the time in future, you must reflect upon the Dogra's history, Dogra's roles in the history and the making of the nation and
Yes, indeed.
the development.
Indeed. Thank you for raising that point.
Yes.
In fact, Professor Harbans Singh has written a number of books on this aspect. And we have a special institute in Jammu that is working on Dogra history. We have published, you see, I don't want to go into history, but as long as Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji was alive, Maharaja Gulab Singh was his trusted lieutenant. उन्होंने उनको बचाया भी था, आपको याद है लड़ाई में उन्होंने अपनी जान भी खतरे में डाली। लेकिन उनके जाने के बाद जब मिसल एक दूसरे के साथ लड़ने लगे, तब गुलाब सिंह ने कहा भी बहुत हो गया, 2 लड़के मेरे यहाँ मारे गए, 2 भाई मेरे यहाँ मारे गए। रानी जिंदा फिर कह रही थी तुसी इत्थे आओ, उन्होंने कहा बस हो गया बड़ा, हुण मैं अपना काम करांगा। That is the crux of the matter, that is what happened. And therefore he had this treaty with the British, which both the Kashmiris and the Sikhs think was a sort of a wrong thing to do. But without that treaty, you would not have had the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So these are points, but we are working on that, Sarji. And Harbans Singh is working, and our whole institute is working there for this purpose.
So thank you very much, and I will hand over. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Big round of applause.
Thank you, sir, for sharing such warm personal, political, and spiritual anecdotes and reflections. We have enjoyed each and every moment of it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Radhika ma'am. Now the time is to move on. This evening has been nothing short of magical, immersing us into the rich and inspiring life of Dr. Karan Singh, a truly living legend. As we come to the close of this memorable gathering, it is only fitting to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made it possible. I now invite Dr. Jyotsna Singh to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. Thank you, Sumita ji, for inviting Dr. Karan Singh to speak here. Thank you very much, Radhika, an old friend and somebody who popped up immediately in one's consciousness when we thought of who it would be who would talk to my father. It's a great pleasure to have, of course, this function in Harbans Singh ji's hometown. And so we owe it to you to have had this here. And of course, thank you very much. All the people who made this possible, Afan, thank you. My friends who are here. I have friends here who were at school with me, who were in Sanar with me, and who were also in college with me. So Chandigarh is a very wonderful place for me. And also relatives. I mean, my father's Samdhin ji is sitting right here, Mrs. Kapoor. And Samdhin ji बैठी हैं यहाँ. और नए Samdhi ji. Yeah. That's right. I thought I saw you, sir, but I wasn't fully, So thank you all, and it's been an absolute privilege and delight to be here. Thank you. Thank you. As publisher to also put this book together. Thank you.
Humbly invite everyone to join us for a cup of tea.